Patience and frustration. Great topic. Roll it. Welcome back to another video where we've been exploring patience and how it helps us get moving in the right direction. So if this is your first time here, hit a like at the end of the video if you like what you see, and of course hit a subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss future videos to get your mindset moving in the right direction. Patience! Everybody screams you need to be patient. I think we've all heard it, and if you haven't, you probably haven't done enough of a risk or taken an opportunity that could be a little bit of a risk that could get you moving in the right direction of what you want to be doing. A lot of people will tell you you gotta be patient, especially if it's around things we really want and we really need to see happen. Is something that we start getting antsy about. We start feeling it should be happening now, and voila, it doesn't come on the timeline we want it. No doubt this has been a serious issue in our growth as humans with patience. Because you're on social media, you're seeing everything that's occurring, you want it now. It does not matter, I want it now. We have become a now society. It's quite the thing actually if you look at it from a perspective of how people are evolving. It's like when I make these videos and people are like, can you make your videos shorter? Because like I really want to hear the whole thing, but it's so long. And I'm like, no. I'm making the videos for as long as the videos have to be made in order for me to say everything I want to be saying. That being said, you may not have the patience and you can't get through it, and that might be because you don't really need to hear the advice. However, other people will watch the whole thing, and usually it's because they really need to hear everything. It's not just an entertainment value of what we're trying to do, it's what we want to learn. But we do get these comments, and when I see my rates of when people drop off, I understand what is going on, I understand where it's heading, and I can actually see what I am doing wrong of what I'm doing, and I can see where the people could be dropping off and for the reasons and why. And a lot of the times, they're impatient. They just want to get the answer right now and go implement. And life doesn't work that well in that manner. It usually everything takes its own time. It's kind of like trying to work out and get a six-pack. You're never going to do it overnight. Trust me, I've tried many times. And I think a lot of people out there have tried, but it takes devotion and a daily routine to get you to move in that direction of having that six-pack. It's not just working out, it's a whole lifestyle change with food, the diet, it's the stress, it's a whole bunch of things all together. Yet people watch these, people getting fit in 2 months, 3 months, and they go, yes, like I could do it in 2 weeks. You can't. Which brings me to the idea of this video is where people go to me, well, I want my business to launch and go great, and I guess I should be doing this way. And number two, like I want that girl or that guy to want me now. I want this relationship to go now. I want everything now. That doesn't work that way. What occurs is very simple. You have a narrative in your mind of what should occur. Once you put things in your head, you go, oh, well, if I start this business, I'm going to make this much money, and all I have to be doing is this, 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 and this, because on social media, the other guys are doing it that way. Now, we haven't seen what everybody else had to do to get to that stage, but we assume and then we make a narrative in our heads of how it should be. On a relationship note, well, people are like, I want to date that girl now, and I want to do it now. There's no, hey, let's build a relationship, let's go through that process. It's now. By the way, it works the same way when a girl wants a guy and they're like, I want it now, and I want that ring on my finger in 6 months. I want to be married in a year. Things don't work that way in real life. We need to really practice patience. Patience comes in to this equation of this narrative because we've created a totally different expectation of what the reality is. The reality has a time frame of things that need to occur in order for something to actually become. And when we look at it from a perspective of our narrative, that timeline has shortened, and what's occurring based on our expectations in that narrative we've created, as we get moving on something, well, then what ends up occurring, our frustration kicks into high gear. And as the frustration picks up, well, now we have this other mental state of negativity kicking in. And now we have to go do things more than we have to in order to see our realization come to pass, because our narrative is still stuck in that. It's not moving out of that into the real world. This is when you see somebody trying to get their ex back and they start going on a texting rampage to get them back. And it works the same with guys and girls. You can't just, if you're broken up, you can't just jump in there and start texting and going all crazy and trying to get them back. And, you're really just pushing them away more than trying to make the opportunity for them to come back. It's simple economics of relationships, really. But I think we all have seen that, so it's a great example to state here. The other example that for those business people who are going, hey, I want to start my company and get going, I make websites, and the thing I always see is the person that comes and go, well, you charge too much, and you're saying 3-4 weeks. No. Ain't gonna happen. I need it now because I gotta launch and I gotta get going and I get it moving, so I'll do it myself. And then they go and they do it themselves and they create it, they go, I'm gonna do it in 24 hours to 48 hours. Yeah, you can make a landing page in that time. Can you make a web page that's gonna do everything you need for your business to succeed? No. Unless you're seasonally trained in it and okay, I'm gonna do it. Most people that are starting a business, well, most of the time they don't. And then what ends up happening, they're working through it, and at the 12-hour mark, they're going, oh, it's not going anywhere. And then they haven't gone to sleep yet, and the frustration is building. So then they start, Googling everything. They try to get in touch with people they know that can do websites, and they're trying to get it moving. And all of a sudden, they go to bed, they wake up in the morning, they go, all right, I'm on the second 24 hours, and it repeats again. They didn't take the time to plan. They didn't take the time to really look at the whole grand scheme of things to make a product that has value. Frustration takes over, and eventually they go back to doing their other stuff with their business, procrastinating on the website because they say, I'm going to come back to it, and then the website never turns out to be that website they had envisioned in their mind. And then all of a sudden procrastination has fully taken over to the point where, was this really something I want to do anyways? No, I'm going to look at another idea to work on. It's very simple to look at this idea and ask yourself, how does this all fit together in a patience kind of thing that you can start working on? And I'm calling it a thing because it's a little bit different for everybody. And I know my psychology friends will be like, yeah, what's this guy talking about right now? But hear me out. There are different types of needs with patience. In every different situation that we have, a different level of patience is required. And that patience is all based on the expectations we're creating. It's based on that narrative that's created from those expectations. So no two sets of being patient will be alike when the thing that you have to be patient about is different on a different level, you would say. However, it comes down to expectations, and the idea comes back to that procrastination video on planning and how to plan accordingly to avoid being a procrastinator. In it is all about that narrative and what is the narrative that we need to focus on, along with what gets you pumped, what gets you motivated, and the things that aren't motivating for you, the things you don't want to do. And in that example, I use my admin work. I can't do admin for 24 straight hours and then be done with it for the month. I spread it out during the month, or else I'll never get it done. Some people can do it. I can't, and most people can't. So we need to separate it between the things we really need to be doing, that we like doing, and the things we need to be doing that we don't like to be doing. If we can look at the actual expectation in the real terms, we can now look at the reality of the timeline that we're going to be setting ourselves up for success. The planning is simpler this way. I know I need to build a website. I will not schedule it and work on it for 24 straight hours. I will take my time to grow the different aspects that are needed for the website in order to have it done over a month's time, 2 months, or maybe if you want to be quick, 3 weeks. If you're a seasoned, experienced person in websites, I think you would agree with me to a degree. If you want to just open up a website and put a product on there and make it very nice, you could do it in a week to 2 weeks. But if you really want quality and you want to go out and get all the social media and really get all the videos together and this and this and that, it's going to take you at least a month. Let's be realistic to make it look very nice. This timeline now is easily done when we're implementing it with everything else we have to do during the day. As long as we are taking the time to put an hour here, an hour there each and every day, we are now able to go back to it based on these tasks that we have to do for it, and off we go. This planning does not allow your narrative to get ahead of what you are planning on doing. It doesn't let the expectations grow on you faster than what is reality. The narrative stays focused in a real sense, and now you can have your idea actually grow to what it needs to be while doing everything you have to do to start moving on that idea. It's the same thing with relationships and anything else in our lives, but it's a different type of thing that we need to be looking at. What is the expectation we need to have on, say, getting our ex back? We can't do it overnight by texting her 1,000,000 times. We can't do it overnight by showing up at his house. We can't do it overnight by making them feel jealous. We can't do it overnight by doing any kind of extra motivating factor. It's being patient that the other person will have time away so that they can start moving back towards that opportunity that they may want to see come to reality. Sometimes when people break up, and most of the time out of fear, they're still looking to see, did I make the right decision? And that's where we need to capitalize on. And when you send out that final message, be like, hey, I really didn't want to break up. I really want you back. Or if you send out, hey, listen, I agree with what where your mindset at, take your time, all you need, or whatever type of message you've sent the last one, patience comes into it, and you got to give it time, days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. And yes, you can send out that opportunity for them to contact you, but the reality is, if you go right back after 4 hours and you're like, hey, why aren't you messaging me back? What's going on? Hey, this, that. You're never going to see them again. That patience is the expectation again of what you are expecting the other person to do, and you do not control the other person. Where in the other situation, we are controlling the amount of work we can do. The other side, the person, we can't control their emotions. We can't control how they're thinking. We can't control anything. We can just influence them to come to a conclusion that we want them to be influenced on. And we need to do that by using patience, keeping our expectations to a reality, and not allowing ourselves to get frustrated, in which point we start doing things that make no sense. Take some time and ask yourself, where is your frustration stemming from? Is it based on that narrative you created, and is it based on those expectations? Is it based on your patience and how your patience is not working to the best of your abilities?